Hey guys, how is it going? Today we've got another car, well, should I say truck review. We're going to be diving right into this and reviewing this 1997 Chevrolet C1500. Alright, so first thing you can really notice about this truck is that it's definitely been used for a work truck, basically its entire driving life. Obviously right here, you can see a big dent in it and the paint's a little messed up, but I mean, this truck is 23 years old. Has 162,000 miles on it, and it's still running. It's still running great. Obviously, it's got the stock rims on it, the stock tire setup that fits the rims, and underneath you can see basically some parts of the frame here. And obviously, there's a little rust, but everything seems to still be good. There's not too much real rust erosion or like any rust actually eating at the body. These trucks have a great reputation for being forever trucks, and that's exactly what they are. They last forever. They're a great work truck, and we're going to be going to some of the specific specifications on the exterior in a little bit here. One quick thing, like I said before, this truck is a 1997 C15 Chevrolet, but the Suburban 1500s for this year actually came with a cap on the back, and this owner actually has his own cap that he bought. Now this cap actually allows you, if you have this specific truck, to mark it down as a Suburban on your insurance. I'm not sure that really does much. It might save you some money, but it's just a little quirk and something that's a little unique about this car. Obviously it's not too unheard of for truck drivers to have caps, but normally it does have a cap on it. But today we're going to be reviewing it without a cap. Alright, now, so the exterior dimensions of the 1997 K1500s, they vary depending upon what trims you actually got of the truck. Now, this specific truck is the 5-liter V8 that comes with it. Now, I'm going to be going into those engines in a little bit, the different engines that come with the different trims. But just to cover right now, the exterior dimensions of this specific truck is 194.5 inches long with a width of 76.8 inches and a 117.5 inch wheelbase. Another quick fact about this truck is that it has this specific trim has a curb weight of 4,206 pounds. Alright, so now to get into some of the more important specifications when you're talking about trucks. Since this is a truck, both maximum towing and payload capacities are very important. And since this is actually the lower trim of the K1500s, it has a maximum towing capacity of around 5,000 pounds and a maximum payload capacity right under 1,700 pounds, coming in at 1,668 pounds. Another very important note to keep in mind when talking about the hauling specifications of any truck really is you got to keep its age in mind. And this truck is a 23-year-old truck. You definitely don't want to push it, especially if you're a new owner or you're looking to buy this truck. You don't know what might be rusted out underneath. You don't know how the suspension works. You don't know how the frame is. Obviously, just check all that stuff out, because the chassis there might be parts that are broken or completely rusted out. So I definitely do not suggest trying to test out these limits on your own. Alright, so I just got the hood popped on this car. Now keep in mind this is a 5-liter V8 engine. So the first thing that came to my mind is looking down at this exhaust manifold. In my mind I was like, isn't this supposed to be a V8? But it actually turns out for these specific engines that Chevrolet, when they made this exhaust manifold from factory, these two, basically the two pipes on the outside are the outmost cylinders, and the two middle cylinders on both sides share this one middle pipe that goes into the exhaust manifold. So that is kind of a little like weird, unique quirk that this car does have. Now this specific truck, the 1997 K1500, had 4 different engine options, 4 different engine trims. The standard, which is not what this is, the standard one was a 4.3-liter V6 producing right around 200 brake horsepower at 4,600 RPMs and 260 foot-pounds of torque at 2,800 RPMs. The second trim up higher than the V6, which is this one. This is the smallest V8 that you can get with this truck. This is the 5-liter V8 that produced 230 brake horsepower at 4,600 RPMs and right around 285 foot-pounds of torque at 2,800 RPMs. Now the V8 that's higher than this, and it's actually the largest gas engine trim for this specific truck, it was the 5.7 liter V8 that produced 255 brake horsepower at 4,600 RPMs and 330 foot-pounds of torque at 2,800 RPM. All right, so now the largest engine that can actually come in this specific truck, the highest trim, I guess you could say, is actually the only diesel trim that comes with this truck, and it is the 6.5 liter V8 that produces 180 brake horsepower at 3,400 RPMs and 360 foot-pounds of torque at 1,800 RPMs. Now, another thing to keep in mind, something that practically everyone looks for in their vehicle when buying a car or a truck or whatever, is fuel economy. Now, I'm going to just list off the fuel economy specs for each trim as follows. So the bottom trim, I guess the smallest engine you could possibly get, the 4.3 liter V6, makes 15 miles per gallon during city driving and 20 miles per gallon during highway driving. The 5 liter V8, which is what this has, is basically, it makes 14 miles per gallon, around 13/14 miles per gallon during city driving and roughly 18 miles per gallon during highway driving. Now the next V8 higher than this, the largest gas engine, the 5.7 liter V8, makes 13 miles per gallon during city driving and 17 miles per gallon during highway driving. Now the diesel, which is the only diesel trim, the largest engine, the 6.5 liter diesel V8, makes 15 miles per gallon during city driving and 18 miles per gallon during highway driving. Very important thing to keep in mind when talking about fuel economy is what type of transmission the vehicle has. Now this specific C1500 from 1997 from Chevrolet came with 2 transmission options from factory. The first one, which this truck actually has, is the 4-speed automatic option. The second option is the 5-speed manual option. Now obviously, if you were to get this truck and you were to get a manual, you could expect a little better gas mileage depending upon how you drive, obviously. Now another thing that came with this truck from factory with 2 options was actually the fuel tank. Now the fuel tank for the 1997 K or C1500, now this is obviously a C1500. The only difference, by the way, between the K1500s and the C1500s is that the C1500, which is what this is rear-wheel drive, and the K1500s are actually all-wheel drive. But everything's practically still like the same. That being said, the 1997 K or C1500s had actually 2 different fuel tank sizes. It came equipped with a 34-gallon tank when it had the 8-foot bed, the extended bed, and it actually came equipped with the 25-gallon tank when it had a shorter sized bed. Now this specific truck has the 25-gallon tank because it does have a shorter bed. Now looking at the interior here, this specific truck actually does have an extended cab, even though it doesn't have a 3rd door. So that is another thing that's a little bit, I guess, unique or quirky about this specific truck. Now from factory, Chevy states that the 1997 1500 had seating for up to 3 people with a regular cabin and up to 6 people with an extended cabin. Now obviously this is the extended version. You can see the back seats in here. You can definitely get 6 people in here. Obviously it's a 3-seater up front and a 3-seater in the back. Now obviously sitting in this car, it's definitely very spacious, very roomy. Now Chevy states that from factory, in the front, this car came with 40 inches of front headroom, 41.7 inches of front leg room, and 65.4 inches of front shoulder room, and 60 inches of front hip room. Look in the rear here. I mean, I'm gonna make this quick because obviously in the rear there's less space, but honestly there's practically almost just as much space as there is in the front seats here. Now Chevy says from factory that this truck has 37.5 inches of rear headroom. It has 34.8 inches of rear leg room, 67.6 inches of rear shoulder room, and 64.2 inches of rear hip room. Alright, so now I'm actually driving this thing around. Now this is the 4-speed automatic that I talked about before. It's definitely a little clunky getting into gears. You can definitely tell that it's a 23-year-old truck. But just note, obviously, if you buy this truck, it has a little column shifter here if you get the automatic version. And yeah, the suspension is definitely, it definitely has some miles on it. Let me tell you that. You definitely don't want to swing this thing, do donuts, act like a freaking fool with it. You know, you don't want to be. You definitely have to drive this thing easy. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. There is definitely a little slop in the steering wheel, but for the most part, I mean, it drives good. The engine sounds very healthy. I'm gonna just quickly accelerate into traffic here. Yeah, I mean, it definitely, I mean, you guys probably, I don't know if you've heard that or felt that, saw the camera move or whatever, but getting into second after accelerating, it definitely gets a little clunky, especially if your foot's like on the throttle. But besides that, I mean, it's a very reliable work truck. Obviously, that's its purpose. Steering is definitely sloppy though. But besides that, I mean, it definitely does its job, does what it's got to do. Definitely now you can get them for dirt cheap. I'm pretty sure you can definitely get one running. That's maybe, I don't know, $1,000, $2,000, if that, and it can do the job, you know. So I definitely would suggest this truck if you're looking for a very cheap, reliable truck. Obviously, you want to get one with fairly low mileage on it, and obviously this one has, like I said before, 162,000 miles on it, which definitely isn't low by any means, but it is. Hold on, this is kind of messing up my camera here. It's definitely not low by any means, but for a 23-year-old truck, that's pretty low. So obviously, thanks for the support. Thanks for watching today's video. If you like the content, make sure to share with your friends, like, comment, and subscribe. Definitely, also another thing, comment down below any video suggestions. If you want your car reviewed by me, I have my email down in the description below. It's antscarreviews@gmail.com, all lowercase, no spaces or anything else. But yeah, once again, thanks for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one.